ladies, gentlemen, it's been far too long. It's been a wait. It's been a struggle. But your patience hasn't been tested in vain. For salvation has arisen. For you, for me. The NFL season has returned. And there are no more days, no more Sundays you have to go without football. Ladies, gentlemen, I think I'm ready. I think you're ready. Because the NFL season is getting off right now. And you are for the Pieper Sports Podcast. Little enthusiastic beginning there, but the Hall of Fame game, Broncos-Falcons, takes place this Thursday, which means it's time for the preseason, which means it's time to get back, finally, to some NFL football. Not only will there be a bunch of content for the NFL, because I know it and I love it and I speak frequently of it, but there's going to be so much content on Met Media. There's going to be content everywhere. Everywhere you look, you're going to find something you're going to enjoy. And if you don't enjoy football, let me know, and I'll do something for you. I hope that dramatic beginning made things worth it for you, or at least attracted you in. I'll probably put that on social media as my way to get people. We're going to talk about my predictions. Last week we did AFC West, and this week we're doing NFC West. You're sensing a pattern here, because there's a pattern here. We have the Seattle Seahawks, Arizona Cardinals, San Francisco 49ers, and Los Angeles Rams. We'll start off with your Seattle Seahawks. Russell Wilson gets his rich contract extension. Was it worth it? Yes. He's been constantly one of the most underrated and overperforming quarterbacks in the league, even for his size. Russell Wilson has shown time and time again that he is a power player, that he really, really does achieve at the greatest moments, clutch moments, and he's led his team at a very, very young age to a Super Bowl. Of course, that was when the Legion of Boom existed, and unfortunately, this team doesn't have a Legion of Boom, not much anymore. Pete Carroll said that this was one of the best defensive linebacking cores he's worked with in recent memory. We have Bobby Wagner, arguably, and, not even really arguably, the most talented and best linebacker in the game. He is a middle linebacker that can do just about everything, and you don't want to be on the other side of the ball when he's running at you full speed. They have KJ Wright, who they had for a little while, and he's kind of learned the system and done very, very well with Pete Carroll and Bobby Wagner along his side. But additions with Michael Kendricks, hopefully making this one of the best linebacking cores Seattle's seen in quite a while. They do lack kind of in the secondary position, but that's kind of how they fit. And the unfortunate piece is Doug Baldwin ended up retiring, so DK Metcalf takes on a huge role. Now, there was an interview that DK Metcalf had with Steve Smith. Steve Smith asked him if the first snap he ever had would be on special teams. He said, I'll knock somebody out on special teams, and I love that fire. And a lot of rookies have that fire, and they have that enthusiasm to go out and do something incredible and be energetic and enthusiastic to go out no matter where they're put. I love DK. He has the size, he has the ability, but the question is, who would you have, DK, Doug Baldwin? Would you rather have a more so average-sized receiver in Doug Baldwin that's a veteran, he's learned the system, he's had rapport with Russell Wilson, or would you rather have this young, quick, big, strong, and athletic player that really can stretch the field more than Doug Baldwin ever did? It's a toss-up for me, but I'm much more on the side of veterans, and I think you can have a lot of talent, but you have to have the rapport. DK Metcalf will be great in good time, in near time, but this season isn't going to be a 1,000-yard, 1,500-yard season for DK. They still have Tyler Lockett. They're still primed for success. I'd still rather have Doug Baldwin. DK, your time's coming. Be ready for it, kid. You're going to do really, really good. My predictions for the Seattle Seahawks, I think they're going a solid 10-6 this year. They really have talent, they have coaching, and they've added some players through the draft that have fit some really, really good roles for them and good needs. I think this team is in a very competitive division this year, which 10-6 might seem a little ambitious, but I still side on the era of veteran leadership, veteran coaching, and their ability to potentially grab a wild card spot going into the 2019 season. Next, the Arizona Cardinals, going to another undersized quarterback, but potentially the next Michael Vick. Is Kyler Murray the real deal? They drafted him number 1 overall. Everybody knew he was getting drafted. Everybody knew this was going to happen. But when it did, questions started being risen. Is he going to be that next high achiever? Is he going to be great? Is he going to be the next Michael Vick, or will he flop? I don't have an answer for you. I haven't watched the kid all too much, but what I have watched is electrifying speed and athleticism. Is he better than Josh Rosen if Josh Rosen was staying for a second season as opposed to getting traded? I don't know. I think Josh Rosen didn't get enough time to achieve greatness in Arizona, but Kyler Murray, he has the full support of the offense. He has the coaching to get him to that next level. This year will really tell you who he is and who he can be. He's going to show some flashes of greatness. Arizona's really this retirement home for a few different players, i.e. Larry Fitzgerald and Terrell Suggs, who signed a year-long deal in this offseason. Now, should you feel bad for them, or was this the best move for them? Should have Terrell Suggs went to a contender? Should have Larry Fitz considered going to a contender or getting traded to a contender? I mean, it's up to your personal opinion. I think Larry Fitz, I would never want to see him in a jersey other than a Cardinals jersey, which I think many people hold that belief and hold that opinion. But Terrell Suggs, I would have wanted him to see, I would want to see him go somewhere where he can achieve greatness before he ends up having to hang up the cleats and retire. Do I feel bad for either of them? No. I think they have a purpose. They were paid to be there for a reason, and that is veteran leadership. So what does veteran leadership look like on a team with a young core with a few different decently talented players? It's really this mentality-driven approach. You can teach somebody to lift weights. You can teach them to run routes. You can teach them the ins and outs of doing this, but it's a mentality. Larry Fitz and Terrell Suggs have been to playoffs before. They've been to Super Bowls before. They've been in these high-pressure situations where clutch players come out and elite players tend to become successful. Is this team going to compete? No. My prediction will tell you that. But does it show when they have these veterans there that it'll teach some mentality and some good lessons to these young players on the real mental side of the game? Yeah, so they have a high upside. My prediction for them, not flashy, but a 4-12. I gave this ranking to the Broncos. They weren't very, very happy with that, and I got a few angry emails about that one. But overall, you're still rebuilding. You have a quarterback of your future, a number 1 overall pick. You have a lot of talent. You have a lot of youth. Hopefully Larry Fitz doesn't hang it up at the end of the season, but if he does, you need more talent. That's the sad part in saying that you're rebuilding. But your future is looking bright. Don't keep your heads down for too long. Kyler Murray is your future. Now to the San Francisco 49ers. 49ers. Jimmy Garoppolo. Will Jimmy Jesus be the future? Yes. You paid him all that money to stay with you guys for a long, long time. He got injured last year. He's probably going to be the comeback player of the year this year. I love Jimmy G. He's not Matt Castle. He's not Matt Castle Part 2. Jimmy G has a lot more talent than Matt Castle does, and even in his limited time frame has shown that he has these flashes of greatness that Matt Castle really didn't. Will Jimmy G be really, really good this year? Yes, he is a top 10 quarterback for me going into this year, so keep an eye out for him. Defensive core is terrifying. I saw this video the other day of Dee Ford and Nick Bosa hitting a sled together. Whew. You have some of the greatest pass rushing depth on a team right now. Of course, you might need a little bit of help when it comes to the run game because you don't have the biggest guys on that defensive line, but you have developing talent in D Ford, Nick Bosa, Quan Alexander, who's a proven linebacker, Richard Sherman on the outside, and DeForest Buckner on the inside defensive line. You have a great defensive team right now. You have offensive young stars like Marquise Goodwin and George Kittle, one of the better tight ends that kind of broke out in his young season. What side of this ball or what side of this team is really going to be good? What side of this team is going to be better? My best prediction is this team is going to be a balanced but defensive-sided team. They'll have really good offense. They'll have a great defense with a lot of sacks and kind of a lockdown secondary. My primary concern with this team comes to the offensive side and depth. If somebody gets injured, if anything happens, they're not very deep on the offense. They are on defense. But predictions for the 49ers, I have you guys going at a swift 9-7 this year. 9-7, potentially 10-6. I'm going to go 9-7. It's a toss-up between you guys and Seattle. I don't think you guys have everything fit just yet. The 49ers don't necessarily have everything in line. They're not linked up perfectly yet, but they will be in due time. Give it another year. We'll see how Jimmy Garoppolo performs. If he does really well, this team will do very well. If he kind of goes on that mediocre Matt Castle-ish stage and starts regressing, then this team isn't going to be very good for very long, especially with his contract. And finally, the Los Angeles Rams, formerly the St. Louis Rams. I guess we're getting to a point where it's like 4 or 5 years ago that they moved from St. Louis to LA. It seems like it was yesterday. Can Sean McVay maintain his dominance in the NFC West? Yes, I think he can, but I think he'll be figured out over time. Most offensive-minded coaches do that, or do get that little bit of rough patch. I guess not necessarily a sophomore slump, but defensive coordinators start figuring out their tendencies, and that's one of the things about offensive-minded coaches like Josh McDaniels that really kind of rubs you the wrong way. It's tough to predict them. It's tough to predict them over a season, but once you start getting a lot more film and you start understanding how they think, then it can get a little bit tough to maintain an offensive-minded coach. I think McVay will at least be successful this year. I think he has the talent around him to do really whatever he wants to do, and he has the offensive, creative mind to do whatever he really, really wants. Will Gurley regress in his limited time? Todd Gurley knee issues. They said they're going to kind of put him on this little limited snap count for him just to maintain his health. Will he be the same Gurley we know him to be? Will he be a 1,000-yard, 1,200-yard rusher like he was in the past? I don't see him dropping too much, but I wouldn't be surprised if this kid doesn't really maintain. He has injuries. He has injury history, and it's horrible, and I don't wish it upon anybody, but there's not much you can say about it, and it's tough. I don't think he'll maintain his dominance, but they did draft a running back. They do have a little bit of youth at the position. With Gurley. Does Goff deserve big bucks? Does he deserve an extension? What's the next step for Goff? Now, I don't think Goff's bad. I don't think Goff's bad at all. I think Goff has talent. I think he has the ability to be an improvisational quarterback, but is he elite? No. Jared Goff, to me, is this quarterback that can carry your team at times and then drag it at others. He is a mediocre quarterback with showings of greatness. Now, does that mean he's going to be great? No. Does that mean he's bad? No. I would not say he's bad from what he's done, because he's done really, really well, and especially with Sean McVay, he's had really, really good showings. Does he deserve big bucks? Does Dak Prescott deserve big bucks? Wait for the Cowboys video to find out. No, I see him in that $22 to $25 million range. We'll see if he fits it. He's probably going to get more because quarterbacks are obviously at a premium. That's where I value him at, and I don't know if they're going to maintain keeping him for a little while. Will this team be good? Will they be mediocre? I still have them winning the NFC West, and this kind of segues into my prediction, but this team is going to be good. They have the talent. They still have great players. Brandon Cooks, Todd Gurley. They still have Aaron Donald. They still have a defense. I mean, there's not too much saying that this team's going to drop off a cliff. The only things I say that are my criticisms come down to, will this player be an MVP caliber player like he was in the past? I don't have all too many MVP caliber players on this team, but I definitely have superstars and role players. This team fits in at right around 11-5. They're still winning the division, but I don't see them winning 12 games. 12 games is an elite level. You have to have the perfect set of circumstances to win more than 12, but once you hit 12, that's kind of that upper echelons. Will this team win 12 games? Yes and no. I think they can. They definitely have the talent. They definitely have the coaching. But I think it comes down to maintaining it with injuries, maintaining it with a successful coach without seeing much decline in players. This team fits in at that 11-5 role. It's not going to be the wild card team that some people are predicting, but it's not going to be that number one seed that every team or a lot of people are predicting. They fit in that middle of the road for me. Middle of the playoff road, that is. That's been the NFC West. I'm so excited for football season to come up. Let me know in the comments if you guys are excited for football season, or if you're not, what type of content do you want to see? I really do this stuff for my own pleasure, but to excite you guys and entertain you. So if you have anything that you particularly want to see, let me know. I'll do my research on it when I get time, and I'll throw a video out there for you. Literally anything. I get bored. Like, comment, subscribe, bell notification afterwards to get updated on every video I do. Otherwise, beauties, have a wonderful rest of your day.